Let's start the today's session. So today we are going to see the today we are going to see a database part. So first, before we get into the session, so can somebody tell what is mean by data? Can somebody post it in the Q&A session? What is mean by data? What do you mean by data? Can somebody post it in Q&A column? Of raw factor, something, okay. Data is nothing but a different types of information is usually formatted in a particular manner. It can be a numbers or it can be a statistics or it can be a word, something like that. It can be in the any format. It will be organized in a particular manner. So in the earlier time of the thing, how we are going to store, how we can store the data using the sheets. If in the notebook we can store the information of a particular person or particular thing. If we want to manage the accounts data, we can put it in the account sheet. Or if we can manage the student data using a record notebook, something like that, we can manage the data in the early stage. Later, the computer is came into the picture. We are going to we have used the we have used to store the data in a Excel sheet or the Microsoft Access sheet. Okay, so in Excel sheet, we can store the all the information related to the student or the related to the employee and in the previous thing. So later point of time, the database is come to the picture. That is the database management system is come into the picture. It is a software. It is used to manage the database. How we are managing the data in the efficient way, we can create a number of table and the within the table we can interrelate each of the record. So this is how the database management system is acting. So data we already know it's a collection of information or collection of statistics, something like that. So database is a collection of interrelated data. It is the interrelated data which is to retrieve and insert and delete the data efficiently. That is for the database. Okay. Say for example, in a college, your HR or your admin person used to save all your records. Say for example, roll number of the student and name and which department is belongs to and what is his rank, what is his semester wise rank, what is semester wise percentage, something like that. They will be managing within the database. So for that purpose, they are using the database. Okay. So as I already told you, there are variety of database management software is available. So most popular database is the MySQL and MS SQL and Oracle. These are the very popular database. These are the relational database management system. Okay. Using the database, we can store the information and we can update and we can create the database in it. We can do a lot more functions as well. Okay. Now the next part is the relay types of database. Types of database. There are mainly the two types of database. There are very few types of database that there. We are going to see the relational database and the distributed database. The relational database is nothing but a data is made up of a set of tables which the data fits into a predefined category. That is what the relational database. The distributed database is something like the data can be divided into the several parts and which is stored in the multiple physical locations. Say, for example, uh, within the network, there will be a lot of database servers are there, and the data can be splitted into the multiple database server, and which can be retrieved within a single thing. Single thing. So we can retrieve. So this is what the distributed database. There will be multiple physical location which we can store the data on the different location. This is the distributed database system. Okay. So concept of the database. Database, it can control data redundancy because it store all the data in a single database. Okay. So within the single database, we can store all the information. So we can control the data redundancy and sharing. We can share easily within the organization by sharing the database credential. They can use with the credential. They can able to get the data within the organization, and it can be maintained very easily, and it reduces the development time and maintenance time, and we can take the backup of the data stored. Okay. So and it is also multi-user interface. Okay. So these are all the database advantages. Okay. So today I'm going to show you the one of the most familiar database. Again, it is a open source database. Name is called PostgreSQL. Okay. So PostgreSQL is nothing but a database. So I hope Janu has taken the previous webinar how to install the database and how to connect the database. So if not, I will give the revision of the things here. So this is the installation steps to install the PostgreSQL database client and server. So when you open your Linux machine, you can put the first you need to update install the PostgreSQL client. Sorry, the Postgres, yeah. First, you need to add the repository of the Postgres in your Linux machine, and you need to download it and you need to install it. So these are the steps to install the Postgres SQL. And after installation has been completed, you need to set a username and password. So how we are
Krishna,
going to do that? We need to using the alter query for
Krishna bro,
setting the database password.
புட்டி மட்டும் தான் ஷேர் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க.
Oh, sorry. Oh, now we are able to see, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. So using the alter query, we can set the password. Now I'm going to show you how to log into the PostgreSQL database and how to create the database inside it and how to create the table and how to list the table and create the data table with the different data types. Okay. So that I'm going to show you now. So how to check whether the database has been installed in my system. So how do you know that? Using how to check the process Can somebody tell how to check the process in Linux whether it is running or not? Can somebody tell in the question and answer what is the command we use to check the process? Can somebody tell what is the command we use to check the whether the service is running or not inside the Linux machine? Using the ps command. Correct. So let me check first whether the database service is running or not in my virtual machine. So using the ps command, ps in the grep, I am specifically put the database name, the Postgres. Okay. So I am getting the output like this. So in my system, uh, there are two versions of Postgres is running. One is the Postgres version 11 and one is the Postgres version 12. So in these two, I'm going to connect the Postgres version 12 database around. Okay. So how do you connect with the Postgres database 12 instead of 11? There are because in my system both version of database running. Each one is running on the different port. So to check the database running port, we need to use a netstat command. Netstat. So by doing that, I will be able to get the port of the both the Postgres. See, one DB is running on the port 5432 and another one is running on the 5433. So I have configured the Postgres 12 in the port 5433. How do you? I know that earlier, so I'm already know the thing. So I have confidently said that I am running on the port 5433. So if you want to check, you can verify by the process ID. There will be a process ID listing on the netstat command. This is the process ID PID 3475. That process ID is belongs to the Postgres SQL 12. By using this command, by PS command, you can get the process ID and the SQL version. What is the SQL version running under the process ID? And same as you can put the netstat command, you can get the port number and the process ID. What is the process using the particular Postgres? So in that way, we can get the information about the Postgres service running under which port. So the next thing I'm going to do is the connecting the database. So to connect the database, either you can do a command line interface or you can do a graphical interface. There are a lot of client tools available. PG is the one of the most used client tool for PostgreSQL, and DBweaver is the another tool. In DBweaver, we can connect a number of database types. Not only the Postgres, we can connect to Postgres, we can connect Oracle, we can connect MS SQL in the DBweaver. But in PG we can connect only the Postgres SQL only. So that I will show you later how to connect the database server using the client tool. That I will show you later. First, let me show you the command line interface to connect the database. So to do that, you need to, so for connecting the database, there are certain parameters you need to know. The first thing is the host name. What is the IP address or host name of the database? And what is the database name? And If you don't know the database, it will by default it will connect to the system database which is already been created. Okay. So the third thing is you need to know the port and you need to know the credential, database credential to log into the credential. Okay. The username and password you need to know. So these are the parameters you are going to use to connect the database server. Okay. This is the command I use to connect the database. So I already put the ps command. My PostgreSQL tool is running under the folder user lib PostgreSQL tool under the bin. So from the bin file, I'm going to connect the database using the file PSQL. PSQL is nothing but a PSQL command line um, tool which is used to connect the database. This is the PSQL is the utility to connect the Postgres database via command line. So that file will be under my installation folder under this. Wherever you install the PostgreSQL tool, under the bin folder, the PSQL file will be there. Okay. So I'm going to put that. So I have installed my Postgres in my local machine so that I don't have to mention the host name. If you want to connect the remote Postgres, you need to mention the host name by putting the parameter hyphen h and followed by the host name. Say for example, the host name is 192.168.1.6 something like that. So by using the host name parameter, you need to connect. By default, Postgres is running under the port 5432. I have changed the port number for Postgres version 12 is 5433, 5433. So I need to mention the port number here. If you have not mentioned the port number here, by default it will connect the port number 5432. So I don't want to connect that 5432 because this is a very older version of Postgres 11. So I'm going to connect the Postgres 12. So I'm mentioning the port number here. So as I said, these are the parameters to connect the PostgreSQL, which is the host name and this is the username and that password. While I'm entering, it will ask me for the password. Okay. A database by default it will connect the system database. The system database name is Postgres. Okay. By entering the I'm going to connect it. So I remove that. Because I'm not going to connect the remote host, I'm going to connect the local host only. So I do that. I'm entering. It will ask for the Postgres user password. So I have created the Postgres user already while installing the Postgres. So it is asking for the Postgres user password. I am entering the password now. It will take me to the Postgres database server. If you see that the PSQL, I have used the PSQL, right? The PSQL client version is 12 and my system is Ubuntu. The PGD something is the Postgres. To install the Postgres, Ubuntu is using the packages, the PGDG something like that. Okay, so this is the default. If you are not mentioning the database name here, it will directly connect take you to the post system database called Postgres. Okay, so currently I am in the SQL prompt. This is the SQL prompt. We call it as Postgres after equal after slash. This we call it as a SQL prompt. Okay. In the prompt, you can do the query, you can do the create database command, you can do the delete database command, everything you can do here. Okay. The first thing I'm going to show you is the how to create the database. Okay. So for creating the database, the syntax is create database and followed by the database name. Whatever the name you want to create, you can give. I'm giving the database name as demo. So every SQL statement is end with a semicolon. Okay. So the semicolon is mandatory. If you are not giving the semicolon, the SQL statement will not complete and it will remain same unless otherwise you issue the semicolon. If you do not issue the semicolon, it will be in the processing state only. The moment when you issue the semicolon, then only the SQL statement will come to the complete state. Okay. So after I am issuing the semicolon, the prompt I have got is the database create database. So database has created. So I'm using the command create database and followed by the database name. I am able to create the database. The database is created. So how do you check whether the database is created or not? So for doing that, you need to use the /l command. If you /l means to list the database. So to put the /l and for doing that you don't need that semicolon. Only the SQL statement you need to put the semicolon. For listing the database, listing the table, describing the table, you don't need to put. So I'm going to list what are all the database inside the database server. So I'm going to list that when I put the /l, enter. So the output will be like this. The list of database inside my database server, which is under Postgres 12. Okay, demo. Just now I have created. The owner of the database is the Postgres user, and the encoding format is, and these are the types and access privileges. Currently, it does not have any access privileges. It is only accessing only the Postgres user. Okay, it has all the privilege. User can delete, user can update, user can truncate whatever the operation they can do that. So these are all the default databases. While you install the Postgres, these are all the three databases. It will automatically create it. Okay. This is the system database which is having the all the system information like what are the database are currently in that and what are the tables and some what are the running processes inside the database that are running processes PID, everything it has, and which database having the right access and what are the users information. All the informations will be stored in the system database. In that there are a lot of tables are there. Each table will be storing the relevant information inside it. Okay, so now we created the database and we are able to list the database. Next thing I'm going to show you how to create a table inside the particular database. Mm, in system database, normally we don't create a table, custom table. Okay, so we need to switch to the demo database. This is the database name. So system database, we can create still the table inside the system database, but normally usually we are not going to do. Not going to do. So I'm going to switch to the demo database. So how can we switch to the demo database? There will be a command called /c /c and followed by the database name. So you can see here, this is the Postgres. This is the system database. The moment when I put the /c and followed by the demo and entering, it will take me to take into the demo database. So you will be receiving a message as something like this. You are now connected to the database demo as a Postgres user because I am connecting the database using the credential Postgres and the Postgres user. So this is what it refers. Okay. Now I have connected with the database called demo. In that, you can create your stuff. You can create a table. You can create your table, and you can update the table. You can alter the table. Everything you can. And here, one more thing I want to show you, like the slash l plus. By issuing the command, it will give you the size of the database. What is the size of the database? There will be a extra column. Two columns is added here. The table space and size. Table space I can explain in the later point of time, maybe tomorrow, day after tomorrow, something like that. And the size. By default, every database is created with the default template. So that will having the size of 7,929 KB. By issuing the L plus command, you are able to get the database information along with the database size. Okay. The description as well. You can see the description column as well. Okay. You can see this is for the Postgres database. It is showing the description as the default administrative connection database unmodified here. Something like that. And the template 0 is the unmodified empty database. These are all the templates, these are the empty. Okay. So this will be created automatically while you install the Postgres, these three. Okay. So now I have connected with the demo database. Now I'm going to create a table inside. Okay. So for creating the table, using a command, create table and the table name. Table name you need to mention. This will be creating under the demo database because we are in the demo database. I'm using the command called create table to create the table name, and we need to mention the what are all the column names. So demo ID is is the one of my column, and it is a primary key. Primary key we'll talk about later. What is the primary key? And demo name. It is a data type of varchar. Varchar means you can either it can be a number, it come or integer, or it can be a text or something like that. Okay. And the demo verified on it is a timestamp. It will be in the format of date and time. And demo integer, it will be integer. It will be number only. The integer type represents number, and the demo underscore is underscore active is the one of the column. It is a boolean type. Boolean type means it is only a true or false column only. Other data type, other thing, the integer or that varchar, it will not accept while you define the column data type as a boolean. It will be only the either true or false only. So integer means it will have only numbers. Okay. So timestamp, it will give you that date and time only. Date and time only. So this is the one of the data type. Okay. So roll number is the one of the data type that is comes under the integer. The student name will be the data type as a varchar. Okay. And your marks will be a data type as integer, something like that. So these are the few data types available. Few data types. There are a number of data types are there that will come to know one by one later. So I'm going to create a table called demo table with the 4 columns. Okay. Someone is says, please change that font size. So I'm going to change the font size now. It's too big. Mm, well, yeah, it's okay. So with this default thing, I'm going to create the table. So when I put the enter, the table got created. Okay. So if you want to see the records inside the table, you need to use the select command. Select or select or from that table name. What is the table name? Table name is the demo table. So followed by the semicolon. Currently inside the table there are 0 records are there. So there is no record inside the table. The column name will be the columns are created as respectively with the whatever the command you issued in the create table command. So demo ID is the one column, demo name is the another column, demo verification on is the another column, something. So we are able to see the records inside the table using a select star means it will show you the all the records, all the tables, all the columns and all the records inside it. Okay. Say for example, there are hundreds of records are there in the table. It will show the hundreds records one by one. Okay, serially. So select star from is the command to show the records inside the table. Now I'm going to insert the record. Inserting the data into the field table, you need to use the command called insert into the table name and followed by the what are all the column name you have created and followed by the values. You need to give the values, right? You need to create the values as well. So these are the value name. For the demo name, he has given the demo one underscore name. Given the I have given the value name, and for the demo verified on, I have given the name now of it will take you the current time of the timestamp. And demo integer it will be a one, and demo is active is a I have make it as a true. So like that, I am inserting a 5 records inside the demo table. So I'm going to insert the 5 records now. So these are all the columns and these are all the values. Values will be a comma separated. You can give the columns also the comma separated and we can give the different value as the comma separated value like this. This will be the one set of record and this is going to be the another set of record and after the comma this will be the another set of record. Okay, like that you can enter. So I'm going to insert the records. As I said, every SQL statement will end with the semicolon. So I'm going to insert it. If you see that, say here, insert 5 records. Okay. So now I'm going to list the records inside the table. So I'm using the select star from command. So it will show the table records. Okay. So if you want to see only 2 records, I don't want to see all the 5 records. If you want to see the only 2 records, you need to use the limit in the end of limit 2. If you put limit 2, it will show only the 2 records. Okay. So in that you can, if say for example, there are thousands of records are there. So in the 1000 record, you want to see only 10 records, you can still see that by using the limit command. Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you the listing the table we have seen. Listing the table. So I have created a table inside the demo table. How can I see what are all the tables are created inside the demo database? So to listing the table inside the demo database, the command is dt. When you put the dt, it will show the table's name. So this is the schema name. It is under the public schema, and the database name is the demo table. The table name is the demo table. Type is table, and owner is the post. So it is so like this. Okay. I'm going to create one more table called student details with the roll number, student name, and subject name, and mark and rank. Okay. So as I said earlier, student name will be the integer. Sorry, student roll number is integer type, data type, and student name is the varchar, and subject name also a varchar because the subject name will be the character, right? The words. So it will be the varchar, and mark is numeric. It is a number. You can let it numeric, and the rank again it is integer. First type or second type, something like that. Okay, I'm going to create it the table. So table is created. Now I'm going to execute the same dt command whether the table has been created or not. The student underscore detail. See, there are two tables created now. So in that way, you can list the table. Okay. So if you want to describe the table, how do you describe the table? If you want to know what are all the columns are there in the table without having the data, just you want to know what are all the columns available in the table and what are and the column data type. See, this is one column and this is another column. This column data type is init and this column data type is varchar. So while creating the table, we'll be giving the column name along with the data type. So after created, if someone wants to know, if say for example, if someone has created the table, so while creating table, he has given the data column name and the data type. So if I have logged in, how I'm going to know what are all the columns are there and what are the data types that column belongs to, that I want to know. So for knowing that, you need to use the /d followed by the table name. If you put /d and the followed by the table name, it will give you the output like this. And these are all the columns. The roll number is the one column, student name is the another column, the column, the type, the data type, the roll number is belongs to it is integer, and the student name it is character varying, subject name also character, and the mark is numeric and integer. Okay, so by doing the /d followed by the table name, you can describe the table and you can come to know what are the columns available inside the table and what is the column data type you can come to know. Okay. So with this, I'm stopping the today's webinar. Okay.